Hello everybody, welcome to my channel.
Carrie Fisher was an American actress, writer, and cultural icon whose life and career were defined by brilliance, wit, vulnerability, and resilience. Born on October 21, 1956, in Beverly Hills, California, she was the daughter of Hollywood royalty, singer Eddie Fisher and legendary actress Debbie Reynolds. From the very beginning, Fisher's life was intertwined with show business, fame, and the pressures that came with it. Her most famous role, Princess Leia Organa in Star Wars, 1977, catapulted her into cinematic immortality. As Leia, Fisher embodied intelligence, courage, and defiance in a way that shattered the damsel-in-distress archetype. Her character was a warrior, a leader, and a feminist symbol long before the term was popularized in Hollywood. The image of Fisher with her iconic hairstyle and blaster became one of the most recognizable in film history, forever tying her to the Star Wars legacy. Beyond Star Wars, Fisher was a gifted performer in films like Shampoo, 1975, The Blues Brothers, 1980, When Harry Met Sally, 1989, and Hannah and Her Sisters, 1986. Yet her greatest strength lay in her writing, and in her raw honesty about fame, mental illness, and addiction. Fisher was a brilliant writer, known for her sharp humor and self-awareness. Her semi-autobiographical novel Postcards from the Edge, 1987, inspired by her own struggles with addiction and her complex relationship with her mother, became a bestseller and was later adapted into a film starring Meryl Streep and Shirley MacLaine. Her memoirs, including Wishful Drinking and The Princess Diarist, revealed her as a storyteller of immense candor and courage, unafraid to find humor in pain and absurdity in chaos. Fisher also became an advocate for mental health awareness, openly discussing her battles with bipolar disorder and substance abuse at a time when few celebrities dared to. Her willingness to speak about these issues with humor and empathy helped to destigmatize them and inspired countless others to seek help. Her return as Leia in Star Wars, The Force Awakens, 2015, and The Last Jedi, 2017, was both nostalgic and powerful, a reminder of her enduring presence in popular culture. Off-screen, Fisher was known for her razor-sharp wit, irreverent personality, and a kind of fearless authenticity that made her beloved by fans and colleagues alike. Tragically, Carrie Fisher passed away on December 27, 2016, at the age of 60, after suffering a cardiac arrest. One day later, her mother, Debbie Reynolds, died, a poignant and heartbreaking end to one of Hollywood's most remarkable family stories. Carrie Fisher's legacy endures as that of a trailblazer, truth-teller, and survivor. She transformed her pain into art, her flaws into humor, and her humanity into something that resonated across generations. As she once famously said, "Take your broken heart, make it into art." That was Carrie Fisher, brave, brilliant, and unforgettable. Carrie Fisher's life was one of extraordinary contrasts, dazzling success and deep pain, comedy and tragedy, glamour and grit. Beneath the image of a Hollywood princess and intergalactic icon was a woman of profound intelligence, wicked humor, and unflinching honesty. Born into the public eye, Fisher was raised amid the glitz and chaos of Hollywood. Her parents' highly publicized split, after her father left Debbie Reynolds for actress Elizabeth Taylor, became one of the most talked about scandals of the 1950s. The fallout shaped Carrie's understanding of fame and relationships early on, instilling in her both fascination and cynicism toward the world she would later conquer. Fisher attended the Central School of Speech and Drama in London, where she honed her craft. Her first film appearance came in Hal Ashby's Shampoo, 1975, opposite Warren Beatty, Goldie Hawn, and Julie Christie. But 2 years later, her life changed forever when she was cast as Princess Leia Organa in George Lucas's Star Wars. At just 19, Fisher became part of a global phenomenon. Star Wars was more than a film, it was a cultural earthquake, and Fisher's Leia became a beacon of strength and independence. She was outspoken, witty, and fearless, qualities that mirrored Fisher herself. But fame came at a price. Fisher struggled with the pressures of stardom, addiction, and self-image. She later revealed that during the filming of The Empire Strikes Back, she was using drugs heavily, a way of coping with the overwhelming demands of Hollywood and her own mental health struggles. Despite these challenges, Fisher reinvented herself as a powerful voice in Hollywood behind the scenes. She became one of the most sought-after script doctors in the industry, polishing screenplays for films such as Hook, 1991, Sister Act, 1992, Lethal Weapon 3, 1992, and The Wedding Singer, 1998. Her sharp humor and understanding of character and dialogue made her a secret weapon in the film world, though her name rarely appeared in the credits. Her literary career was equally remarkable. Postcards from the Edge established her as a major writing talent, witty, vulnerable, and deeply human. Her later works, including Delusions of Grandma, The Best Awful There Is, and her memoir Wishful Drinking, expanded on her lifelong battle with addiction and bipolar disorder, all told with brutal honesty and biting wit. Fisher's voice, fearless, self-deprecating, and razor-sharp, made her a cult figure for anyone who'd ever felt broken yet refused to give up. Her autobiographical one-woman show, also titled Wishful Drinking, became a Broadway hit and was later adapted into an HBO special. On stage, she confronted her life's chaos with laughter, turning trauma into storytelling. Whether describing her electroconvulsive therapy or her turbulent romances, including her marriage to singer Paul Simon, she brought warmth and wit to even the darkest corners of her life. In her later years, Fisher embraced her legacy with humor. She once joked about her place in pop culture, saying, "I am Princess Leia, no matter what. If I were trying to get a good table, I wouldn't say I wrote Postcards from the Edge. I'd say, Leia, Party of Four." Fisher's relationship with her mother, Debbie Reynolds, was famously complex yet deeply loving. They lived next door to each other for years in Beverly Hills and shared a bond rooted in both tension and tenderness. Their deaths, just one day apart in December 2016, felt tragically poetic, a final act of love between mother and daughter. Carrie Fisher's influence continues to ripple across generations. She redefined what it meant to be a heroine, both on screen and off. Her candor about addiction and mental illness opened doors for others to speak openly about their struggles. She was a feminist icon, a mental health advocate, a brilliant humorist, and a survivor who turned her flaws into art. In her last book, The Princess Diarist, 2016, based on diaries she kept during the original Star Wars filming, she reflected on fame, youth, and her affair with co-star Harrison Ford. The memoir captured her lifelong ability to find humor in heartbreak and to embrace her imperfections with grace. Carrie Fisher was more than an actress. She was a truth-teller, a rebel in every sense, and a woman who used her pain as a tool for connection. Her words, like her performances, continue to inspire honesty, empathy, and laughter. Carrie Fisher's later years were marked by both creative resurgence and emotional reflection, a period in which she fully embraced her legacy, her flaws, and her place in the galaxy of modern culture. After decades of personal and professional turbulence, Fisher emerged in the 2000s as a symbol of resilience, a woman who had survived addiction, mental illness, heartbreak, and the brutal scrutiny of fame, and had turned it all into art and humor. Her 2008 memoir and stage show, Wishful Drinking, became a turning point. Fisher stood on stage with a wry smile, recounting her chaotic Hollywood childhood, her brief marriage to Paul Simon, her struggles with drugs and bipolar disorder, and her misadventures with fame. It wasn't self-pity, it was self-liberation through comedy. Fisher often said that if she didn't laugh at her life, she would cry, so she chose to laugh, and to invite the world to laugh with her. Her openness about mental illness was revolutionary. Long before it became common for celebrities to speak about their mental health, Fisher spoke with striking candor about living with bipolar disorder. She described her manic episodes, her use of electroconvulsive therapy, and her years of self-medication with startling honesty. But she always did it with humor and compassion. "I am mentally ill," she once said, "I can say that. I am not ashamed. I survived that, and I'm still surviving." Fisher was also fiercely intelligent and politically aware. She often used her platform to speak about women's rights, the treatment of aging actresses in Hollywood, and the pressure on women to conform to impossible standards. When she reprised her role as Leia in The Force Awakens, 2015, she received criticism about her appearance, and she famously fired back, "Youth and beauty are not accomplishments. They're the temporary happy byproducts of time and DNA." Her return to the Star Wars universe was both triumphant and bittersweet. No longer the young rebel princess, she now embodied General Leia Organa, a leader hardened by war and loss, wiser, stronger, and deeply human. Fisher brought gravity and emotional depth to the role, transforming Leia from an icon of youthful rebellion into a matriarch of resistance. It was, in many ways, the culmination of both her career and her personal evolution. Off-screen, Fisher lived in her famous Beverly Hills home, surrounded by memorabilia, her beloved French bulldog Carrie, and the ghosts of Hollywood's golden age. Her humor never dulled, her interviews were sharp, hilarious, and disarmingly honest. She was unfiltered, unapologetic, and adored for it. Her relationship with her mother, Debbie Reynolds, became one of the most touching aspects of her later life. Though they had once clashed fiercely, the two women grew closer as the years went on. They lived side by side on the same property, separate houses, same compound, as Fisher joked, and came to depend deeply on each other. Their connection was one of enduring love, mutual admiration, and shared survival. Fisher's sudden death on December 27, 2016, while returning from a trip to London, shocked the world. She had suffered a heart attack on the plane, and 4 days later, she was gone. Her death was followed the next day by her mother's, a final, poetic testament to their bond. Debbie Reynolds, heartbroken, reportedly said, "I want to be with Carrie," before passing away. At her memorial, friends and family remembered Fisher not only as a beloved actress but as a fearless writer, a sharp satirist, and a friend who made everyone feel seen. Her ashes were famously placed in an urn shaped like a giant Prozac pill, an ironic, perfectly Fisher-esque gesture of humor in the face of mortality. In the years since her passing, Carrie Fisher's legacy has only grown. She posthumously appeared in Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker, 2019, using previously unreleased footage, giving Leia a final, graceful farewell. In 2023, Fisher received a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, accepted by her daughter Billie Lourd, who has continued her mother's spirit of honesty, creativity, and courage. Carrie Fisher's story remains one of unfiltered humanity, a tale of triumph over chaos, laughter over despair, and authenticity over image. She taught the world that you could be broken and brilliant at the same time, that humor could heal, and that truth, no matter how painful, could be beautiful. As she once wrote, "If my life wasn't funny, it would just be true, and that's unacceptable." Carrie Fisher made sure it was both. Carrie Fisher's personal life was as complex, fascinating, and unconventional as the characters she played, a life of artistic passion, deep love, loss, and the constant search for meaning beneath the glitter of fame. After the whirlwind of Star Wars fame in the late 1970s, Fisher became part of the vibrant creative and musical scene of the era. In 1978, she began a relationship with Paul Simon, the celebrated singer-songwriter of Simon and Garfunkel. Their romance was famously intense, filled with passion, poetry, arguments, and mutual admiration. Simon once said that Fisher was beautiful, brilliant, funny, and unpredictable. They married in 1983, but the marriage lasted only about a year. Though they continued to see each other on and off afterward, their connection was immortalized in Simon's music. Songs like Hearts and Bones and Graceland reflect his feelings about their relationship, the beauty and turbulence of loving someone as fiercely independent as Fisher. She later spoke fondly but wryly about him, saying, "We didn't work out, but we gave it a good try, and I got some great songs out of it." In the years that followed, Fisher had several other relationships, including one with talent agent Brian Lord, with whom she had her only child, Billy Lord, born in 1992. Although their relationship ended when Brian left her for another partner, Carrie and Billy shared an unbreakable bond. Fisher often described motherhood as her greatest joy, saying that her daughter wasn't an achievement, she was a miracle. Billy would later follow in her mother's footsteps as an actress, appearing in American Horror Story, Scream Queens, and the new Star Wars trilogy, where she even shared scenes with her mother. Billy often described Carrie as the greatest teacher, someone who taught her not only how to act but how to live authentically, to embrace chaos, and to find humor in everything. Despite her fame and wealth, Fisher never lost her sense of absurdity about Hollywood. Her home became something of a legendary sanctuary, a quirky, memorabilia-filled space where she lived surrounded by her books, her beloved dog Gary, and her mother next door. Friends recalled that she was the heart of every gathering, witty, generous, and capable of turning pain into laughter at will. Her circle included writers, actors, and musicians who adored her sharp tongue and warmth. She counted among her friends Stephen Fry, Meryl Streep, Harrison Ford, and George Lucas, all of whom admired her intelligence and honesty. Lucas once said that Carrie was our great and powerful princess, feisty, wise, and full of hope. Fisher's later work reflected a woman fully at peace with her contradictions. In The Princess Diarist, 2016, published shortly before her death, she revealed her long-rumored affair with Harrison Ford during the filming of the first Star Wars. The book was more than a confession, it was a deeply introspective look at youth, vulnerability, and the loneliness of fame. She wrote with tenderness rather than scandal, painting a picture of a young woman in love and an older woman reflecting with compassion on her past self. Fisher's death in December 2016 felt like the end of an era, the loss of not just an actress, but a voice of truth in an industry often defined by illusion. Her mother's death the following day made it even more poignant, as if the curtain had fallen on one of Hollywood's last great mother-daughter duos. At her joint memorial with Debbie Reynolds, Fisher's brother, Todd Fisher, spoke of their extraordinary bond. They were together every day of Carrie's life, and the last 24 hours were no different. Meryl Streep, who had portrayed a fictionalized version of Fisher in Postcards from the Edge, delivered a moving eulogy and sang Happy Days Are Here Again, one of Debbie's signature songs. Fisher's humor persisted even in death. Her ashes placed in a giant
Bye bye. Thanks for watching. Bye.